Hey guys, it's Kate, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I am back with some intuitive art. I took my 11 by 14, I think, piece of mixed media paper, and I cut it down into 8 small pieces. And what I'm going to do is go through each one by one and just do some intuitive art. I'm also using the same color palette for all of the pieces, and I'm adding collage to each one. And the marks that you see way at the beginning, those are actually from my um, inexpensive oil pastels that I like to use sometimes. So I just kind of grabbed a couple and made some scribbles just to get some marks started on the pages. Now, one thing that was really fun about this one is they all came out a little bit different. I did almost a little bit of cloud gazing in a couple and picked out some shapes from my scribbles. And then in some other ones, I just kind of stuck with geometric shapes. But this was such a good exercise. And if you're ever having any kind of block where you don't really have any ideas on what you want to do, or you aren't sure where to start, just get started and do some of these little miniature paintings or drawings or whatever it is that you're working on. It really helps just to, I don't know, just get things flowing, and it doesn't matter what they end up looking like. You can just enjoy yourself, kind of let go, practice mark making, warm up, or in this case, pick out some fun shapes and turn them into little paintings. So I'm just going through very quickly. When I first started this, I was trying to do, something like 10, 15, 20 minutes, and that never works out for me when I try to do it like that. I always take a lot longer than I originally anticipated. So now you are enjoying this video that is quite a bit sped up, but you'll still be able to see the whole process here. So I am just going through one by one. Each piece has a little bit of time to dry, so it's actually really helpful to do it this way. If you're working on several pieces at once, you can really kind of get a nice flow going where, by the time you get back to that first one, if your layer of paint or whatever it is that you're putting down is thin enough, or, if you're not working crazy wet with watercolor, then you might be able to have a dry enough sheet where you can kind of move on to that next step. So that was really helpful here. I think there was only 1 or 2 points where I let it dry a little bit longer, but for the most part, I was just able to jump from piece to piece. And so I put out my paper, my craft paper, to kind of protect my table there. And I just had them lined up right outside of the camera frame. So then I was able to just grab each one and go to town. And this is sort of that first one, that little bird that is shaping up. I just sort of picked it out from my scribble. And I was thinking, that looks kind of like a wing and a beak. So I just kept going with it. And then this little piece of collage, I was thinking that looks a lot like a little whale and some ocean waves. So I really, really had so much fun with this one, and I got a pretty big variety of paintings, and you just never know what you're going to get when you do these little sit down projects, especially if you don't start with a plan in mind. And sometimes it helps when you have a bit of a limited palette. I used a lot of blues and greens here. I will also come in with a little bit of yellow and a very light pink right here that's almost like a white, but it is colored enough. I'm not sure how well you can see it on the camera, but it just adds a nice little pop of pink to the page. So like I said, I'm just going from piece to piece to piece. I'm breaking out some colored pencils. I have the oil pastels I started with, and some thicker acrylic paint, and I am just trying to see what I can take out of each one and, where the marks are gonna kind of lead me. And I'm just sort of looking at it, and on this one I wanted to kind of turn it into almost a building, and then I've got a lot of geometric shapes going on here, and I'm still trying to work quickly even though it didn't turn out as quick as I wanted because I just kind of get lost in the paint, I guess. But um it just still went by pretty fast, and this is, just going, like I said, from one to the next. This one kind of made me think of like a coastline from an aerial view, so I tried to make sort of like little abstracty ocean waves, and I'm filling in that blue down below to try to make it blend in a little bit better with that collage piece. And so that's almost like a little peninsula or piece of land coming out into the ocean. This one here ended up turning out very geometric, and I've done a couple of journal pages like this too where it just had a lot of different shapes, and I'm kind of filling it in with different colors and adding some highlights and some dark colors. And I'm also using that pink in here for a little pops of brightness that isn't quite white. And I'm just kind of going with each one and seeing what I see. And this is really a fun exercise, especially if you're not really locked down to a certain type of thing you want to do. You could make these very abstract, you could make them more realistic, you could really have some fun and just make some whimsical shapes. And this was just a scribble that turned into a bird. And obviously, it's not realistic, but you can definitely tell what it is. And so, once I decided on the different elements, then it was just a matter of, okay, what do I want to do with the background to make it kind of make sense together? And so I'm not going for realism here, but I wanted to have something of interest in the background. So for this one, I kind of did a bit of a mountain type of shape, and I added some of those little dots to kind of bring it back out from the background some more, and then added some cloud shapes to the sky above, and adding some more highlights to the little bird, and then we'll add some more elements when we have our next go round. So for this one, I was really feeling the landscape, and I actually had a couple of landscapes that popped out in this little exercise, but that piece of collage paper and the couple other ones that I glued down just really reminded me of like a rocky shoreline. And so I went ahead and just really went along with that and painted in kind of a coastal scene here. And it was just very simple. I lightened up the sky quite a bit. And then I'm adding in some darker areas, some shadowy areas, and just kind of following along where you might see waves coming up to a shore. And then this one was another landscape, and really it's because of that little half circle mark. It just reminded me of a setting sun on a horizon with kind of a mountain sticking out next to it. So I wanted to make sure to put that shadow in there in the water, and that would be from the mountain coming out, and then we'll have our sun leaving some highlights on top of the water there. And this was just very fast. It's actually, this is one of my favorite ones that, I really loved it when I finished all of the different little paintings, but it was one of the simplest ones, and the ones that you kind of go quickly on sometimes can surprise you. I also really loved this little whale, and it was just the shape of the collage paper and the way it got torn out, and I ended up just painting some fins on it. This one might be my least favorite. I think I could have done some different things to it, but I kind of turned it into a building with some landscape background. It's very kind of all over the place there, but I did have fun doing that one. And then I also really liked how this one turned out too. And then this circle one, along with the other geometric one, I enjoyed doing both of these. I really think that the composition was really nice with these bubbles and the varying shapes and placement on the paper. Kind of leads your eye up through it. So that is a composition to kind of keep in mind for future projects. And these papers, once you're done with them, even if you don't like it, and especially if you do, it's really helpful, even if you're going to write on the back of it, but just to make a little note of what you really liked about something and what you didn't like. And it really helps to kind of hone down what is important to you, what you want your style to be. I don't know. For me, I tend to kind of get lost in the steps and the process where I kind of forget my purpose sometimes. And so sometimes it ends up being where I'm kind of floundering a little bit, thinking about what I want to do next. And sometimes it's just really important to get back to basics and just think about, why do you like what you like? When you do like something or when you don't like something, is it the color? Is it the shape? Is it where it is on the paper? All of these different things kind of contribute to, what your finished item is going to be and what your feelings are about it. So I really love doing these exercises, and now we have our close-ups going on, and you can see all the different kinds of styles. I really loved the little landscapes, and that little bird was so fun. It was just, I don't know, a cute little bird with a branch. And the landscapes turned out surprisingly good. And like I said, they're just very simple. They're very simple, fast paintings. Fast is a relative term because it's not as fast as I wanted it to be, but here we are. Ended up just speeding it up for you guys. This one was fun too, and like I said, I like the composition and just the way it flowed on the paper. This geometric one I liked, but not as much as the circles, but I do really like the geometric artworks, and just finding different ways to combine those shapes and colors. And then here is our little whale. He's a favorite too. So I hope you enjoyed this and hope it gave you some ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating.